Hello to everybody watching, listening, and once more, welcome back to Mechabellum. I'm playing as supply specialist with arc lights and sledges at the start, and we'll see what my opponent, Mr. Blue, here takes. He goes for elite specialist with steel balls and fangs. I guess for aggro that isn't even a bad unit composition. Now once more, for whatever reasons, everybody who has been playing aggro against me in recent times has done that. They put their forces on my right, which is their left, instead of the other side of the board. So yeah, but this time I kind of started noticing, and I start putting my arc lights in a more balanced position. I'm making a very balanced board, no matter where the aggro comes from. My opponent also drops some additional arc lights. I don't have a lot of chaff, but these arc lights are definitely way too far behind to matter in this specific fight. So I end up dealing with these steel balls without the support of any of the other units, which is just like, that is not how it's supposed to be. There still is chaff left, and the steel balls are basically all gone now. They don't even get that arc light. I'm getting the tower debuff as the level 2 arc lights here are moving in, which is super amazing for me. And in the end, it definitely shows that my opponent's positioning here has been... yeah, I think awful is definitely the correct word here. I win with a significant amount of forces. Despite, I think, Elite Specialist having some very powerful tools in the first round. Next round. War Factory way too early. Improved Phoenixes, worth a thought. Assault Balkan? Nah, maybe not. Portable Shield seems the best option for me, at least. I don't know what my opponent takes. I think he goes for the shield and puts it on the steel balls here, if my memory serves. We'll see if my memory serves. He's starting to sell, yeah, he's sold one of the steel balls, definitely not worth using them. And instead puts the shield on the other steel ball set here. I've put the shield on these tanks and leveled them, so now effectively they have level 4 health, level 4 tank worth of health. But my opponent is going into carry arc lights. He was always going into carry arc lights. It was very easily visible from the start, where I wasn't sure until I saw these arc lights here drop. Basically the steel balls here, they were just there to ride the few turns at the start. Now, what else is going down? The steel balls here definitely dying super quickly, but my opponent is going into some powerful arc lights against tanks and weaker arc lights, which means he definitely has an advantage in this fight, though one should not underestimate tanks. Chaff here basically gets collateraled by the arc light, or at least large parts of the chaff do. On this side there still is a lot of tanks with a lot of health, but this is a good amount of arc light power. The last tank here does a heroic shot. Oh no, there's another tank here, I missed it. And does in fact get the arc light down, and yeah, this is another arc light going down. The tanks at level 2 were too much, but of course level tanks only further level the arc lights here. They're about halfway or a quarter to the next level, somewhere in between that. I was thinking about maybe going into Scorpion Typhoon, so I did drop some Typhoons and a Scorpion. My opponent did just plain go for the Scorpion. Now these steel balls are now officially sold. He instead puts the additional health pool on the level 2 Scorpion, which is probably the best unit, and invests into Charged Shot. And if it wasn't clear that I'm facing carry arc lights before, it is going to be clear now. I do sell the Typhoons. I think it's actually not a bad strategy to hide which additional unit you got if you don't want it yet. And instead I go for another set of another Scorpion here and get some additional chaff out. Why did I put it in front of here? Maybe in order to protect myself against missiles, I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, my opponent has 7 arc lights with Charged Shot, and they will do a ton of damage. 2000 damage per shot, 2346 to be precise, is nothing to sneeze at. The Scorpions will also do a lot of damage, but I only have level 1 Scorpions against his level 2 Scorpions. That said, you can just look at the amount of damage, the amount of the amount of XP they get for each shot, and it's very clear that they will not stay level 1 for long. Both of these Scorpions here get to level, and that simply means my opponent does win a round, but my Scorpions did both level, whereas this Scorpion is still about 3/4 of the way away from leveling. Now, this fight is basically unwinnable for me, because my opponent just has a lot better of a Scorpion. Even with range, I don't think I could win this, simply because the Scorpions shoot very slowly. So, yeah. Let's just fast forward, watch this Scorpion, if I remember correctly, get the tower, and then just turn around and one-shot this thing. Yep. So, as if the situation wasn't bad enough, Blue gets subsidized Arclights. Elite Specialists with subsidized Arclights, all of a sudden they cost a lot less money. I get the anti-interference module because if a tower gets sniped, I will at least have one unit that is still functioning properly. I level my Scorpions and put the shield on this Scorpion unit. I sold the tanks here so that they wouldn't feed these Arclights. One of them has hit level 3, but so far they are still stuck at level 2. At least that is working out for me. I still have the anti-interference module here. Not really sure what to do about it. I'm getting some Phoenixes. Because my opponent has nothing against air. Literally, well, almost nothing. The Fangs, I guess, have anti-air. But everything else, at least until these Arclights do unlock anti-aircraft ammunition, which is super expensive, will not be shooting up. He does end up actually taking rapid resupply here. And throws a missile down. And gets the attack upgrade, okay. And another missile. My opponent is really wasting a lot of money this round. 200 in supply. But I guess he can save it with these Arclights. The missile ends up taking out my chaff, at least half of it. But since I have a health upgrade, the Arclight actually survives. Which is a super important breakpoint if you ask me. I have chaff pushing ahead. The Phoenix is definitely doing a lot. The Scorpion's definitely doing a lot with range now. However, there is not enough on my side to make all of it work. But I think all of the anti-air has gone down, which means that my Phoenixes have free reign. They can get some decent levels of this. They should at least both level. Yeah, they both have leveled. Everything else would have surprised me a lot. This Scorpion unfortunately does not have a level. It collaterals both Arclights, but it ends up being just shy of leveling to level 3. The next round, and I honestly would be sure that my opponent picks these 4 marksmen. They are the instant solution to the Phoenix problem, let's be honest. There are also 4 deployments for $100, which is super cheap. But my opponent takes the Stormcrawlers. I take the Stormcrawlers as well, thinking about a bit of EMP here. Carrier Arclights are very vulnerable to EMP missiles. That's it. Another Arclight has leveled to level 3. I was doing a good job of keeping their levels down, but they are starting to close in on the next level threshold, and I wouldn't be surprised if next round like 4 of them start hitting that. I end up making a bit of a push here, trying to get a cheap tower snipe and take my opponent's Arclights out. However, he did what I totally did not expect, and that is go for anti-aircraft ammunition. Usually, if you're playing carrier Arclights, by the way, you want to avoid hitting this button, because it makes all of the other techs that you potentially don't yet have more expensive. Instead, I think it would have been a better choice to just go for the marksman, but my opponent didn't do that. He also went for the Stormcrawlers. Now I do end up pushing in on the tower. And I do end up taking it. But how much is it really worth? I was kind of hoping that I could now kill these Arclights uncontested. But they are doing enough damage even with the tower degradation. And my Phoenixes just get evaporated by these Arclights that have superior range already. I definitely was blindsided by that decision of my opponent. Boy, that was a lot of damage. I think the missile took... I know it didn't get destroyed in one hit. Anyway, the Scorpion here is winning the fight, but it is super low health. My opponent still has more Stormcrawlers. He has some chaff here moving in front, and he has the tower degradation. So, yeah, not really a lot of remaining tension in that fight. I do get all of the carry arc lights, but since there's nothing left for me, his storm callers just storm mine. Right now I have never really lost a lot of health, but I have a bunch of units out of position that aren't really going to do much because he already hit the anti-air button. And I can't get them in quickly enough. Super heavy armor though, and orbital bombardment on my opponent's side. I expect him to counter this quite heavily, so I'm actually pulling the Overlord back, hoping to maybe get some value out of it later. I sold the other Overlord. And the super heavy armor, what do I even put it on? I don't remember. I think I'm dropping more Scorpions this round. Yeah, I am. They are excellent for super heavy armor as well. Like this Scorpion here, 123,000 health and change. That's not going to be killed easily, even by these carry arc lights. One Scorpion here, one Scorpion here. I hate how asymmetrically, or asymmetrically, but that's the correct way to pronounce it, I'm not sure. I hate how I am not deploying symmetrically, but I guess it can't really be helped. My opponent is throwing a shield down, but I don't plan on pushing against his towers just yet. And now there is starting to be a decent amount of level 3 arc lights. And one of them is close to hitting level 4. Now, the missile strikes, I'm not sure if they did all that much. It's not that I have insane amounts of chaff anyway. Scorpion's definitely having a good time shooting these carry arc lights if they get to do that. Delayed chaff now coming in, and there will be a delayed overlord as well. I win the fight against my opponent's Scorpions and the carry arc lights. And I should be able to take both of these shields out. Yep. So that is a pretty significant win for me. My opponent does take a good chunk of damage, but he still has over 2000 health left, and you can already see it, the arc lights are leveling. There would be an amp core or a sticky oil bomb, but not heavy armor specialist, senior defense specialist is just better because it gives health to all my Scorpions and not just one. My opponent takes the same item, and he hit the final button on these carry arc lights as far as techs are concerned. Elite Marksman, this thing is level 4, it's starting to do 6000 damage per shot, and it has 165 meters of range. This round, I'm just dropping a lot of chaff. I definitely need to get ahead on the chaff war. In retrospect, maybe it would have been better to go for some, for some fangs in preparation of giving them shield. I also sold the last overlord here. And my plan is kind of to just sell out of all air units and invalidate this button, which has cost him, I think, yeah, I think that's 900 bucks that he paid for this. And I'm not really getting much out of these phoenixes anyway. I could start teching them with range and everything, but they would be outgrown by the arc lights, I kinda assume. I don't have a lead on them. Now he does have some anti-missile here. That arc light is now, yeah, with the amplifying core and with the attack upgrade, it's now doing over 7000 damage per shot.